I don't really know what to say about today, to be honest.
This has been a long time coming for us.
I was telling David that this is the highlight of our YouTube
career.
I know. Bar low, man.
Yeah.
We have David freaking Gray in my basement of my house, and we're drinking beers right now.
That is great.
First, honestly, thank you for driving in from Indianapolis.
Yes. My pleasure.
David
absolutely my
volunteered to drive 3 hours to do this, so like
I wouldn't pass up a good idea.
Yeah, right.
He drives for you drive for beer.
It's fair.
Absolutely do.
So we start these off by asking the same questions, and I honestly want to know the answer to this. How did you get into backpacking?
Yeah, we don't know that.
Well, that's about a 40-year question. Really, it was.
We'll need more beers then.
So I'll give you the short version. I kind of grew up camping.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a college professor. He was a college professor, so he had the summers off.
Okay.
And so we would, when he got out of school, we would pile in our station wagon with the 8-track going, and we would head out west for like 8 weeks.
Nice.
Oh, like all
They
summer.
got me into camping, so we would
Okay.
do that all through my growing up years. And then what got me into backpacking was my grandparents lived They lived in Monroe, New York, which is about 40 miles north of New York City, and right on the Appalachian Trail. And so we would get out there
nice.
at least once a summer, and we'd always squeeze in a trip on the AT. And I remember when I was in the late 60s, I was 7 or 8 years old. My dad started talking with a guy, gnarly looking dude with a big long beard.
Yeah.
And
he was like one of the original through hikers.
Yeah.
metal frame pack, the whole works. Probably had about 50 pounds on him, but he started talking about he'd started hiking in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, man, that's a long ways. He said, yeah, we're going to Maine. I'm going, man, what an adventure.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck with me, but it wasn't until I didn't take my first trip until 2010, but my whole life was like, I got to get out backpacking.
So when you took your first trip in 2010, did you like YouTube it at the same time?
I did, but at that time I had no thought that anybody would ever watch any of those things.
Oh, how wrong were you?
Well, so it started as just sharing the trips with my family, and at that time I was like a big Les Stroud fan, Survivor.
Oh, nice.
fan.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And so he did the walkthrough things
Yeah.
and kind of the selfie shots, and so I started with that, but it was really just to share the trip with my family.
That's
That's kind of how we started.
That's kind of how a lot of
but
people...
you were starting like when YouTube was almost like not in its infancy, but like 2010 was YouTube was just starting to pick up.
It was just really a way to share. I was looking for a place to put videos just to share them with my family, like like you Flickr for snapshots.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was, I think, the 2000. So that's the way kind of it went. I filmed a few trips, and then the 2013 glacier trip.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I put that up there for the same reason, and I think it was, and it had 10, 15 views after a few months, and then the next year when we started getting into hiking season in the spring, I looked and there were 1,000 views on it.
You just like put you just put it over there.
Yeah, I'm like, who is watching this stuff? And then after that, it was like it just, then I did another trip, and back then I was only putting up probably one trip a year.
Yeah.
And then I did the 2014 trip, and it kind of took off, and the rest is kind of history. So now I do about 5 or 6 trips a year now.
Do you think the success on YouTube that you've had, has that caused you to do more trips, or do you just
absolutely?
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys feel it, but there's
We
a
do.
certain
yeah.
pressure to,
Yeah.
if I don't do a trip for a while, and I don't do much over the winter time,
Yeah.
and so people start putting comments in there. Hey, dude,
Where are you been?
Come on, man. Are you still? And the worst ones are you still okay? They think I'm kind of dying or I'm already dying. So it's like, oh man. So, but if that first trip comes in the spring, and I feel pressure to get something out there. So
Yeah.
What other like YouTubers did you start watching like when you started putting stuff on YouTube?
Well, I really didn't watch a whole lot back then. I was getting, I was buying Blu-ray.
Okay.
Movies. I didn't even think to watch, YouTube
Yeah.
videos. So there was a guy by the name of Lynn Weldon
Okay.
who did what was it? It was called Overexposed.
Okay.
It was on it wasn't a through hike, it was more of a section hike of the Continental Divide Trail.
Okay.
But he focused on the audio, the sound quality.
Okay.
I mean, the dude probably carried as much sound gear with him, so he had microphones
like one of these things?
Yeah, it's like this microphone strapped on a pack.
Yeah.
But he hardly ever said anything in the whole thing, and he did like a daily kind of short clip every day. But
Okay.
it was an awesome Blu-ray, and then so I just really watched Blu-rays mostly.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
But Lynn Weldon, I mean, he was an early pioneer. He used to take an 8mm out on the AT.
wow.
So he's got some videos out there, early days of the AT.
Yeah.
and then Les Stroud and Scott Harriet, trail named Squatch. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he did some movies on. They were on Amazon Prime. Free, and I had just joined Amazon Prime, and I'm looking for backpacking videos, and he focused on the people aspect of it. So he did a bunch of videos on PCT.
Okay.
And then he would interview people. He's got that kind of personality.
Okay.
But he's the guy who turned me on to when I was looking for a better camera to use, and for the 2014 Glacier trip, I actually bought he had a video out there, a Blu-ray. How I met up with him, I ordered his Blu-ray, and I had asked for expedited shipping. He didn't send, and he sends me an email and basically said, "Hey, dude, I owe you $5." So he says, "What's your address?" And so I go, "Hey, by the way, as long as you're talking to me, what can't?" Because he did a video on the AT called Flip Flop Flippin', where he was just talking to people and moving around on the trail, and video quality was awesome. And so I said, what camera did you use? So he turned me on to the Canon Vixia camera.
Okay.
So those are probably the guys who have influenced me.
You know what? You get like all the props in the world for your video quality too. Like everybody just respects.
It's good.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
do try.
fantastic. It is fantastic.
I don't want to leave anything on the table.
Speaking of that, how are you enjoying mirrorless?
It's been a challenge.
Because we switched. These are mirrorless.
Yeah.
We switched last year. It's definitely different, but they're so much smaller.
Yeah. I'd been wanting to do that forever, and I'd been looking at the Sony Alpha cameras, but I would have had to switch. I've got all these lenses for Nikon.
Right.
It cost me a fortune. So finally, Nikon came out with a decent one that got good reviews for the video quality, a Nikon Z6. So I ended up buying it, combined my birthday present early in the year with that.
Nice.
Got the camera. It has an adapter that lets you use the other lenses.
Oh, okay.
But it was, if you look at the first videos, I used it for every video this year.
Yeah.
But the first ones were rough. So it's a little
learning curve.
Well, it was a little bit like, they put a Ferrari under the hood of the thing, but then they give you like strings.
Yeah.
So it's but I think every single one of them had gotten better, and I think the Yellowstone one, the one we just did, I thought was pretty good.
So you just got back from Yellowstone?
Yeah, now it's probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
It was the end of June.
Oh, right, duh. I've already watched that video. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was the last one.
Yeah.
And you're going back to Glacier?
No, Wind River Range.
Wind River, that's right.
Tried to get
No bugs, right, this time?
I hope
I remember that. Was that last year?
that was last year.
We joke about that all the time.
Oh my God! I remember you sitting there with your bug net on.
You're like pulling it up and you're like drinking your coffee.
You can't even drink coffee. And I was
that
like,
was an experience.
I was like, that looks like so challenging with all those bugs.
When we were in Michigan this year, the bugs were really bad, and we were like, these are bad, but it's not.
It's
David
nothing
Gray.
like
It's
that.
not David
Well,
Gray
that's what
Wind
it
River
does.
bad.
That's what it does. It sets the bar, man. Anything, because there were a lot of bugs in Yellowstone, and none of us were even bothered by it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we kept saying it wasn't like the wind. That was something.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, you guys were just sitting around the campfire, just completely
I
covered.
know.
It just,
I just remember you trying to drink coffee and you were getting like bugs in your coffee.
Oh, I got it on the toothpaste on my tooth.
Yeah.
I had like 2 of them. That's when you knew it was bad. You looked down, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I would have at that point. That's probably when
I'm
we're
like, you know what?
You know what?
When
Not
it
having fun
was
anymore.
about the point we started talking about the Melvin Brewery in Alpine, Wyoming. It's like, that sounds a lot better than being out here right now.
I feel like that one too. Like I remember Travis was carrying like a fishing pole, and I feel like he's like, all right, I gotta get at least like I gotta use it once before we get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Another thing we want to talk to you about was we noticed you're using an REI pack now.
Yeah, I had always used a.
You were Mr. Z packs.
I was, and it blew up right before the Yellowstone trip.
How?
Oh.
What happened?
The main load-bearing shoulder
Yeah.
strap just snapped.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, it was on a training hike.
Okay.
Like about 3 or 4, well, it was only 4 days before we left.
Yeah.
So I went from the parking lot of my little local trail where I walked the dog straight to the REI store because Travis had raved about it. He's got one and he loved it, and I said, short notice, I can't get anything else, and I absolutely loved it.
Good.
I ended up giving that one to my son after the Yellowstone trip, and I just bought another one.
Wait, the same REI pack?
Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
switching to that over the Z-Packs pack?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because the thing about the Z-Packs, it was great if you carried up to about 25, 30 pounds, but you got over that.
Right, yeah.
So what I found was in the beginning of the trips, when I was carrying with all the camera equipment and everything, and I was carrying more than that, it was just really uncomfortable. By the end of the trip, it was fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this a try. It weighs about 3 pounds, so it's a lot heavier than I want, but it's got pockets everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's ginormous. I could fit my Z-Packs pack loaded inside of it and still put more stuff in it. So
3 pounds isn't bad though.
Not these
too
days.
bad. Yeah, and it just carries a load so much nicer.
Yeah.
So I just finally, this is beautiful, so I'm just going to stick with it. And the
Nice.
price was right.
Yeah.
What are you making any other gear changes?
Well, I was thinking about that because somebody asked me to do another gear.
You are due for a gear
Please
video.
do the green screen background.
Oh yeah,
And I like that too. You actually, you've inspired me because we're probably gonna we're probably gonna do some sort of green screen setup after we saw.
I would, except it takes my whole garage to set it up. So I got to move all this stuff for like a 5-second clip, and then you're spending all day setting it up. And I got to find a place to keep it set up. But now people had asked me, and I'm thinking I haven't changed any gear in like 3 or 4 years. But now I kind of got the new pack. I got a new sleeping bag after the almost froze to death in the glacier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I got a Z-Packs bat. I got I have a new air mattress. I got like the ultralight Neo Air.
Oh, you got one? Nice.
Because my other one was just leaking. So I have done different camp shoes now.
Oh, so you are.
Yeah,
we need a video, man.
I was thinking about making a few
pretty
pieces.
much everything. Is different, so maybe I should do another one. Well, I'll probably do one of those.
That's pretty funny.
It's weird. Yeah, it was weird not seeing you use a Z-Packs pack though.
Yeah,
Caught me off guard.
We were like,
I know,
we were like, what is going on?
What happened? I got to explain it. But then when I thought about it, it's like that's I haven't had it that long, probably 4 years. And I've done quite a few trips.
You've done
you've
got a lot of use out of that thing.
Yeah, but it's like it shouldn't fail. I mean, and it just snapped. The little web thing just broke right through.
Did you talk to them at all and be like?
I was going to send it in. I'll bet they'd repair it.
I'm sure they would.
I've sent it in twice now, I think, for repair. They do it for no charge.
Yeah,
so they
yeah,
stand behind it pretty well.
Yeah. They might actually watch this video, so they'll
go.
have a heads up.
They're gonna be like, oh, maybe.
They'll be like,
We'll be looking for
They'll
it.
be like, shit, David Gray's pack busted. Get him one.
Get him an arc haul quickly. He needs more volume.
Yeah, they've never given me anything for free for all the plugs that I've given.
Yeah, and you are Mr.
Z-Packs.
You are Mr. Z-Packs. But we love their stuff too,
Yeah.
and they've been a really good company to work with, and like. I wanted a tent for our last trip, and I just asked them. I was like, "Will you guys just send me a tent? Like, I don't want to keep it. I just want to use it." And they sent me one. They're like, "No questions asked." Yeah, it's the duplex.
So.
I saw you say something about that.
Borrowing
That was the one
it.
I've been.
Yeah.
I think about it, but I've got the Hexamid Solo from them that I still love, and it still works great.
The duplex. I didn't ask for a duplex. I was like, listen. I was like, I'm going to Pictured Rocks. I was like, I'm not going to use a hammock. And I reached out to more people than just Z-Packs, and I was like. Just like, do you have a used tent I can use? I was like, I can't promise you anything other than that it will be in my video of the trip.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care what tent. I don't care if it's used. I'm like, I'll pay you for shipping. I'll pay you to rent it. And they were like, literally, we just got an email the next day. I was like, your duplex is on the way. But it was sweet because they sent me a used one, but it was in like fantastic condition. And I have, I was like, man, everybody's using the duplex. I don't want to be on the duplex train. But it's
hard to beat it, man.
Good
Yeah,
tent.
Carl has one. He's been using it, so I've had tent envy this whole year.
It's
every
so
trip I've
easy
done
to
with
set
him.
up.
So easy to set
Those
up.
things are awesome.
And that was like he has a Gossamer Gear, the one tent that's like pretty old.
Like a really, really
And
old
it's
one.
super lightweight, but it is such a pain in the ass to set up. And so we got the duplex. We're like, God, this is gonna suck. And we set it up like in his backyard, and like we're like, this is really easy to set up.
Now, to be fair, the new Gossamer Gear, the ones are
They changed
way
it. Yeah, they
different.
changed it.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, this is they're onto something with these tents.
That's why they're so popular.
Yeah, and it's light too. I mean, it was really nice.
Yeah, you got the original.
The Hexamid Solo. Yeah.
How old is that? Is that from 2010 too?
No, I got that just before the Sierra Nevada trip in like 2015, I think.
Okay,
But
so you still had 4 years on it
Yeah.
then. It's still
Yeah.
going strong.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I love that tent because it's it weighs like a pound.
Yeah,
first of
yeah.
all. But then you can kind of see through it, so it makes
Yeah.
it seem bigger.
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
Part of it. So the sunsets come up in the morning, and it's just cool.
So the other question we have for you is: have you strongly ever considered a hammock
I
to
actually
sleep in?
He's got a Blackbird.
bought-
I know you have a Blackbird,
well,
but you never use
not
it.
anymore. I gave it to my son.
Okay.
And part of the reason is the dogs.
Yeah.
So
Right,
when
yeah,
I
you
go
can't-
with the
yeah, you
dogs,
can't-
it's like, what am I
yeah,
going to do?
right.
But the other part is when I bought my Blackbird, I didn't get the right size. I got the short one.
Yeah, you're a tall guy.
I didn't
You need the
realize I
XLC.
Yeah, you need the big one.
Yeah, that's
So
like
then I
what
was
we
like,
use.
well, that was kind of, and then it's like, okay, do I want to spend another $300 getting another one?
Yeah.
So it got some use in the yard with the kids, but that was
Okay.
pretty much it. But my son's using it now. He loves
So-
it.
and he likes sleeping in
loves
it.
it, yeah.
So you've never done like a full night's sleep in a hammock?
No, I've never slept in one.
Are you a back sleeper or a side sleeper?
All over.
Okay, because like if you're a back sleeper, I think for sure it's a more comfortable
I
setup.
side sleep in
Yeah.
mine.
I
Fine.
side sleep in it too, but like I always like toss and turn around in it. But if I always tell people, if you're like a dedicated back sleeper, the hammock's the way
Yeah,
to
and
go.
I kind of move all over the place. But the Blackbird was nice because you could
Yeah.
kind of lay at an angle and
Right.
it had a footbed in it.
Yep.
So it would have worked. It just didn't get it big enough.
Well, we've got enough hammocks between the two of us that next
give
time
it
when
a
we
try.
go
I'll
out,
give it a
we
try.
go out, we'll throw you in
Yeah,
there.
everybody raves about it.
Yeah.
They said, and the ability to kind of set it up in some crazy places where you could never set up a
And
tent.
they're really easy to set up.
But
too.
at the same point, like you go into the like High Sierra or
Like,
or
exactly,
no trees.
yeah, no trees.
No trees. You're kind of
But like in the Midwest, it's so easy to do. It's just
Yeah.
when you go out west, like when we were in Colorado, we didn't have a terrible problem, but like you just like if you're going up above tree line, you
Gotta
can't.
figure
You
something
can't.
else out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like a bivvy sack.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. And then it's like, well, like because we use underquilts, not pads in them, so it's like if the hammock breaks, you just have to sleep on the ground.
it's not gonna break.
It's not gonna break, but it's always like in your mind. It's like, what if this breaks and I gotta sleep on the actual like rocky ground?
So then you have a rough night, and then the next day you walk out.
yeah, no, and just get a pad or something.
I've always wanted to do it. I'm sure I'll do it someday.
So big question, because you always do like your trips every year are just like top of the line backpacking trips.
Yeah,
and
you
locations.
don't do like rinky dinky trips really anymore.
Well,
it's like glacier or bust with you.
So how do you like what do you have like a plan or strategy on like how you plan what you're gonna do each year?
Well, I always like starting in the spring with if I could do an AT hike every year, I would.
Okay.
This year it didn't work out, so I did something different. But I don't do anything in the Midwest in the middle of the summer.
Nice. No, it's funny.
hold on.
That reminds me of your Shawnee State Forest
Shawnee.
video.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was the mistake there.
It was funny. Before we did Shawnee State Forest, I watched two videos. I watched Bryce's video and I watched your video, and I was like, why the hell are we doing this?
Yeah, it was bad strategy on my part doing it in mid whenever that was when it was 95.
And when we go to Shawnee, it is it's not as terrible as what you had, but it is bad.
It's bad. But we went the first time we went there. Actually, we watched your videos like, well, we're not going there until like October at the earliest, and we went in November, and it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's as you know, it's so hilly.
Oh, yeah.
But there were no bugs, like no foliage, no leaves, and the leaves were like changing colors, but there were no bugs, and nothing was overgrown, and it was so much better. And then we went back again to do the other loop in the early summer or spring, and it was way worse.
It was
Yeah.
awful.
Now, I want to get back there, but I'm going to do it in the fall, I think, when the leaves are...
Yeah, so that's what we did
great
it.
fall.
We did it in November, and it was perfect. Other than the incline, but it's a good like training area, I think, because it's
Yeah.
like it's
Oh,
not
it's
easy.
rough, yeah,
it's
it's
rough. But other than that,
I don't
like
believe in switchbacks.
no.
That's the thing I
Yeah, it's
remember.
like, oh, there
why
you
didn't
go.
they put a switchback here? No,
Yeah.
straight up that hill.
Yeah, and Shawnee's just like it just goes all the way to the top, and
Down.
then down,
Yeah.
And then
Over
back
and
up.
repeat.
There's
Yeah,
just
repeat.
no way around it. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was the one that taught me not to do Midwest trips.
What
in the summer, so.
what's your favorite Midwest place to hike?
I love the Knobstone Trail in
Okay.
southern Indiana.
Yeah.
It's a little different now because a tornado went through there a few years ago and kind of took out
Oh, okay.
the prettiest section of the whole thing. But it's just such a comfortable trail.
Yeah.
So I love that. Let's see, where else? Love the Red River Gorge, even though I haven't had much luck there.
We've never been there.
We've never been there.
That's
Well,
like the one place.
I've gone a couple times by myself, and I think you need a little local knowledge there to figure
Yeah.
out where to camp. So I did that trip the beginning of last year, and it's kind of known for having like 1 million backcountry campsites,
Yeah.
and they were all roped off that you couldn't camp in.
Oh, really?
So I'm wandering along. Every one of them says closed for restoration. I'm going, man, this is getting to be a problem. 'Cause it started
Is that the one? I think we just watched that one last night. I watched it years
We
ago.
watched the Red River Gorge. Yeah.
Is that the one
Where
where
it
it was
rained?
flooded? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of creepy too because I had the
Nice.
2 dogs with me, and we had camped. Actually, it was Syntax 77.
Oh, okay.
I had looked at his trip before,
Okay.
and he had put the GPS coordinates of where he had stayed, and so I actually had him in my GPS.
Yeah.
and I was only about a half mile away, so I stayed there. It was kind of a gnarly little spot, but it was on the other side of the stream, up against a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't think about is they were going to get like an inch of rain that night. So the whole night I'm looking out my tent. You know, the dogs are in there. It's kind of pouring through my tent. That was the old tent. It wasn't waterproofed well, and the stream's rising. And I'm like, man, I wonder how much that's going to rise. And then I get up in the morning, and it was almost, because I could see it. It was, when I went to bed, it was like 3 feet below the creek, and I could see where it was. I'm like, man, if this goes above that bank, I'm going to be in trouble at 2 o'clock in the morning with 2 dogs.
Oh shit, that's right.
So I'm like, so I get up in the morning, and it had kind of gone right up to the crest, but it hadn't gone over, and it was going fast. I didn't know how deep it was. And I'm like, so I sat there and waited a while. It was supposed to rain later that day too, and I let it go down a little bit, and then we got across. But the whole area, that whole bottom area, was flooded.
Yeah.
So it was. So I've had a couple less than perfect trips in the Red River Gorge.
What's the weirdest thing that's happened to you on the trail? Like, have you had any like weird encounters with people, or like in the middle of the night?
That's a good question.
We've had some interesting.
We've had some weird ones.
I'm
sure
you've had
a bunch.
One of the strangest ones. I was in the Sierra Nevada. This was like, 2015 or 16. And I was by myself, no dogs. It was the first trip I'd ever taken. I've done a lot of trips solo, but always with the dogs for a little companionship. And first trip I'd ever taken by myself. It was kind of a long trip to get out there. And I'm at Adiza Lake, which, you know, you got the John Muir Trail.
So this is the JMT video? Or this is when you're at JMT? Okay.
So first night, I'm over at Adiza Lake, which is still probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I'm out there by myself. And I'm in my Hexamid Solo, so it's kind of translucent. And I wake up, and there's a flash. Somebody's got a flashlight right above my tent. And I mean, you had to understand that Adiza Lake's like 2 miles out from the main trail, like it's on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
And I just freaked out. I mean, it's kind of making me get chills now just thinking about it. So I'm going, who's there? Who's there? What do you want? And so I look out, and there was the most beautiful full moon I'd ever seen.
Oh, it was the moonlights.
So I was like, oh my God, it's like 2 in the morning. So I'm trying to get myself calmed down. And what was strange about it is after that, it was almost like a comfort to me, because I'd lay in bed and I knew it was the moon, and it was like a clock. Yeah. So depending on where it was, it's like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And so after that, it was a little strange that first night. But.
So we've had so many of those encounters, but they're actual people with flashlights.
Yeah,
and it's terrifying.
Yeah. I remember the one where a guy walked up to my hammock with a headlamp, putting it on my face.
Yeah.
Thinking I was his buddy.
Like in a hammock, if you don't have the tarp up, like you're just there. I mean, you're just there. Yeah. And then you're just like looking at him like, dude, it's 2 a.m. What's going on? Yeah. But that happens to us so much, especially in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's like we'll be at Zaleski. Have you done Zaleski?
I have not.
I don't think you have a Zaleski video. But like it was like 2 a.m. and people are just like marching down the trail, like talking. I'm like, who's hiking at 2 a.m.? And it's terrifying a little bit. Yeah. So this is a good question for him. If you were to interview any other backpackers, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know.
I would love to interview Joey. My own frontier.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I've watched a number of his videos, and I mean, the whole van life thing, you know, or any of those guys.
Is he van life?
I believe he is. I think he's doing it full time. But any of those guys, it basically is like, how can you do this many trips and this many videos?
Yeah.
And
he is unbelievable, and like he's in the category of trip only videos, and like he is.
But
just
he does
the
a
coolest.
million of them.
Yeah, he does a lot.
And it's like, how can you? And I'm pretty sure he does it full time. He's on the road all the time. It's like, how do you do the trip?
Yeah.
And then do the editing, do the video, and then get right back on another trip with no recovery time.
Right.
And when I do a trip, by the time I get done with the trip and the video and everything, I need some downtime.
Right. You're not ready to just reload.
No, you got to get back to civilization and reset.
I remember on one of his 10 million California trips where he's in like the absolutely most beautiful places. He's doing a breakdown of his food. He's like, Oreos, marshmallows, candy bars, instant mashed potatoes.
Whatever you can find at the 7-Eleven, right? That'd be a little rough.
One thing I actually did want to ask you, are you ever going to think about thru hiking?
Yeah, it's been a dream of mine to do all the long trails.
So you want to do all of them?
Well, I'd probably start with, I don't know which one I'd start with. Probably the AT.
And that was my first question.
Just because the...
You're Mr. AT, like, section hiker.
I love it. I love the people. I love the, it's almost like a society of its own. And every time I've gone, you just meet people that, it's just everybody's got a story, everybody's got a trail name. I just love that whole scene and the shelter life.
Yeah.
So it's almost in its way, it's kind of like stopping in a hotel or whatever every night.
Yeah.
You got the all the interaction with people. So it's pretty neat.
Do you think you're like, are you thinking about like realistically through hiking like in the next like 5 to 10 years, like something
Maybe.
like that?
Yeah, maybe while I'm still physically able to.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem is I got started. The one regret I have is I got started with backpacking so late.
Yeah.
Well,
Physically, it's you guys are young and everybody's young.
We're not that young.
But it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
The older you get, I notice every year, things hurt a little different than they used to. So it's I have to really work out hard to kind of stay in shape for it.
Another thing I meant to ask you. So we've been able to slowly convince our wives to join us backpacking.
I saw that.
Have you ever convinced either your wife or daughter?
Well, my daughters wanted to do it one time, and this is when they were younger.
Don't take her to Shawnee.
That was what I made a good decision on that trip. It was going to be, we were just going to do like an overnight trip. There's a local park that has a little backpack trail and a little camp at the end of it.
Yeah.
But it was going to be 97 degrees.
Oh.
And so I said, we are not doing this trip, girls. I'm not going to enjoy it, and I know you're not. So we canceled it, and then we never rescheduled. So I had another trip.
But they're interested.
They were interested back then.
Okay.
That was when they were a little younger. I think their interests have changed a little bit.
I need to shout out Annie for she reached out to us.
Yeah.
She emailed us.
Annie's like my marketing
That's
director.
right.
She reached
my
out,
social media
Yeah.
person.
She reached out to us telling us how to get a hold of you. So this would not be possible
Without
without
her.
her.
Yeah.
She
Shout
wanted
out
to
to
be
Annie.
here. Yeah.
That's
She
funny.
loves you guys. Well, what's funny is, I'm not of that generation.
We
my kids,
honestly
my
aren't.
kids are that generation,
Yeah.
but all of her friends watch, all my videos.
That's
And
awesome.
So I got all these kids at college. They come
David's
back
here,
to our house and it's like, I love watching your videos. I was like, really? But yeah, so the kids seem to love it.
No, I think YouTube, I mean, like, we're not in that, I mean, we're in our early mid-30s, so we're not in that generation, but I just feel like YouTube is getting so much bigger and bigger, and like when people like your daughter are, in their 30s, like our age, that's going to be like a legitimate, like, powerful factor in, like, your videos, and like they're on YouTube forever.
Right, they never go away.
They never go away, so.
Yeah, I think about that. It's like when I'm gone, they'll still be able to watch this stuff. So you're kind of leaving something behind.
And it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, you've experienced that. Your channel is huge now. I mean, to the point now where if you're not putting out stuff, people get pissed.
Yeah, there is a certain factor there, like a pressure to just keep producing.
Did you ever think you'd get this much into the YouTube aspect of stuff?
No,
yeah,
I never. It was never planned. It all came about completely by random.
Yeah,
it was. You put it out there, and like I said, I started it as just a way to share videos.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about anybody watching them.
Yeah.
Well,
joke's on you.
Yeah, no kid. Well, what's ironic about that is Annie put out. We did this we did a trip to Colorado, family trip. Just rented a house out there, and she did a little. She's into the video stuff too.
Nice.
She's really good actually, and so she did this video of our trip, put it out on YouTube so we could all watch it. People found it. And said, "Oh, it's nice to see David's daughter," and it kind of freaked my wife out. So she changed it. It's like, oh man, it kind of gives you a lesson that everything's out there for anybody to look at.
That's like hilarious. Your daughter put out some YouTube videos, and they're like, "Well, David Gray's still alive."
I thought it was cool. The wife didn't think it was so cool, and she changed it to private or unlisted or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you, when you go out on your trips, do you get recognized?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, you must.
Yeah.
How do you like feel about it?
I think it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Because it just strikes up a conversation with somebody, but it happens more and more often.
It's only gonna
especially when I'm in Indiana. Like when I take the dogs for a walk on some of the local trails. I went once with my wife. She doesn't normally go when I go to walk the dogs in southern Indiana, but she's on the trip and like 3 people recognize us. And then
how does she feel about this?
She's having them. Hey, get your picture with them. So I'm like, really? So
she's like your PR person.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. So but it's kind of nice just to. A lot of times it's people who have seen a trip or seen one of the videos and they're prepping for a trip.
Okay.
And so like there was one guy I met on one of the trails in southern Indiana. He was getting ready for one of those hikes, and he said, "I was just watching your video last night because we're out on this trail
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
and it's like you guys inspired me to do this.
That's
so
awesome.
pretty
That's
cool.
that's really cool.
It's like a cool, like, you never expect that kind of stuff to happen. Like,
Well, and it happened in Glacier last year.
oh yeah,
So, I've never, you don't even see anybody in Glacier.
Yeah.
Because there's very few people back there. And I'm walking along. This was after the night, just about froze to death. So I'm walking along, going down, happy that I'm still
Yeah.
alive and the sun's out. And this guy's coming up. He's going, I watched you. And he was doing the same trip. He was repeating the trip that we did from
nice.
trying to do it from
Yeah.
2014. So that's kind of neat that they watch something that I did and then they go and do
Yeah.
their own trip for it. So.
Your kids must think you're so cool when that happens.
I don't know. I'm still their old dad. So there's a certain element of that, but I still
Yeah.
think I'm dad. So
No, that's cool though. It sounds like it's a whole family thing. Your wife is in the PR. Your daughter's got the social media stuff.
Yeah.
It's a whole David Gray production.
yeah,
That's
they
cool,
like it.
though.
It's fun.
One thing that we always talk about, and like we're kind of like scared to do this, but like you are not afraid to set up your camera and just film anything and everything.
Yeah, that's had mixed results. Normally people
Have you had some people be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I've had some people come up and actually the worst one I had is I was in when I was getting my permit for this year in Nevada.
Uh-huh.
I'm in the ranger
Yeah,
station.
yeah, yeah.
You just like
I remember
bring
this
the
just
camera
happened right there. Yeah.
In the ranger station,
Yeah.
they followed me out. No,
Really?
you won't see that shot on the video because they followed me out and they say, it's a federal offense.
Really?
To be
The
filming
rain?
it, yeah.
Don't they know who you are?
No, they didn't know who it was, and they didn't appreciate me having the camera.
Really?
Yeah,
so-
has Southwest Airlines figured it out yet?
No. Yeah, I know.
You're just like, oh, thanks for that.
I'm kind of firmly in the beg forgiveness, not
yeah,
application
yeah.
camp.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just sometimes it's I like getting those shots with people.
Yeah, it's
just
cool.
kind of
Yeah.
random stuff,
Yeah.
but you are kind of treading on a little uncomfortable territory.
Yeah.
With some of that.
No, you've inspired like us to do more of that stuff.
I just
Well-
like your glacier trips. That one where you just set up the camera in the cooking area and
yeah.
nobody has any idea.
Yeah.
And you're just like looking at the camera,
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, that's gonna
people
get-
are like walking
That's
by.
what gets weird is when I start talking. Because a lot of people, many times, the conversation comes up is like, "What do you got all these cameras for?" It's
Yeah.
like, "Well, I do YouTube
Yeah.
videos." And so they know what's going on, and I go, "You guys," and I ask them, I goes, "You get cool with me
Yeah.
setting the camera up?" And generally they are, but then you get these awkward moments where I'm doing like a Dunkin' Donut shot, and I'm talking, and they think, yeah,
There we go. We brought it out.
there you go. They think I'm talking. It's like so everybody around me starts looking at me, and you get kind of this awkward scene.
Have
a
you
little
gotten
bit.
used to that sort of stuff?
Yeah, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll redo it
Okay.
or whatever I need to do. But what I tell them is
See-
just don't even worry about the
Right,
camera. And some
yeah.
people are just sitting there; they don't even mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother them.
You really should come on a trip with a bunch of other YouTubers, like what we do.
I saw your gathering.
Everyone's got your cameras out. It's like not weird at all.
I know, that's cool. I did a trip last year with Tyler. He did YouTube.
That's
videos,
right, yeah,
Tyler
yeah.
Gold, and so he and I are both doing it. And what I found is it takes forever to do the trip.
Yeah, because everyone's stopping.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you stop and it's like, man, oh man, this is like.
Wait till you have like 7 of them.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's got their
So
shots lined up.
It was cool because I didn't feel awkward having the
Yeah.
camera out because everybody else did it. It
Yeah.
just makes the trip longer.
Yeah, you should consider coming to some of our like Ohio
I
YouTube
thought
meetups.
when I watched
yeah.
the videos, it looked like
Yeah,
a blast.
we'll do it in the fall.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just fun to be together with other YouTubers who have the same passion and just kind of and not have the pressure of putting it
It's just fun. It's just fun.
No, I'll join you for sure.
Yeah.
And we've done some with like subscriber meetups that have been pretty fun too. But yeah, we're gonna do one this fall. Yeah, you should definitely come. We can initiate. You can be an honorary member of the Ohio, even though you're Indiana YouTube.
Yeah.
It's okay. We
Honorary
we
resident.
brought
State of
Frozen
Ohio.
in. We brought Frozen in from Pennsylvania. We can bring you in from India. So it could be
I'd
like
love
the
to join.
Midwest
Well,
YouTube
the hiking
crew.
guy, he's from Indiana, isn't he?
Is he?
THG.
Is
yeah.
THG? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Gotta
fun
come up
though.
with a cool
It's
name.
fun, and everybody's just like geeks out over camera gear and stuff like that. So
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty cool.
And
No,
it's,
I love that.
Yeah, and everybody can just relax and yeah. So really, the Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, Dunkin' Donuts is good. It is good.
It's a very northeastern thing, and you're not
Yeah.
from the Northeast.
No, and if you look at my early trips, I didn't have any Dunkin' Donuts. I used the Starbucks
Yeah.
Via.
Oh, okay, hold on a second. Starbucks Via is not that good.
I know.
That's how this came to it.
It was the coffee we used at home. I mean we had Starbucks. I think that's too burnt.
Yeah,
bitter.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
this was like
Yeah.
the perfect flavor for
Yeah.
me for a coffee. And so it was what we used at home. And so I just started taking it on the trips. I don't know how the whole Dunkin' Donuts thing started.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there making coffee on a camping trip in the morning.
There's nothing
That's why
better.
I go backpacking.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
out in the woods to have the coffee. So that part is absolutely real.
Yeah.
But then I started doing the whole making of the coffee and.
People
Then,
love
hey,
that.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got to do it every time.
You have to.
So
It'd be
this
weird if you
Yellowstone
didn't.
trip, some guy says, "Yeah, I took a shot every time you said Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and I couldn't get up off the couch."
That was our game. Wait, hold on.
Because there were like six nights. Of
It was a
Dunkin'
drinking game.
Yeah, so 6 nights of days of Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and the guy, he says he's doing shots, and it just killed him. So
That's
that was a long
so-
Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
We could have
trip.
done that for this.
How much would you geek out if Dunkin' Donuts came out with instant coffee? Oh, you're more of the
So you're dedicated-
I mean, I like the whole process of
Right.
making it in the fresh.
But the cleanup, you like the cleanup?
No, I don't like the cleanup.
Yeah.
Or carrying the grounds out.
Yeah,
That
right.
kind of stuff
That's
is
right.
not fun.
Yeah, those
so.
are heavy.
And then I would be remiss if we didn't talk about cheddar jack cheese spread.
You got us on this, by the
Yeah,
way.
has Packet
Probably
Gourmet
a-
sponsored you yet?
No,
Okay, hold on a
but-
second. Hold on.
But
Packet Gourmet.
they have acknowledged it.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, Carl, the guy that I've been doing the trips
Yeah.
with this year, he was in touch with them for some reason because he started having it, and he said, "Hey, you should watch these videos." And they actually sent me.
yeah.
Did
I
they
reached
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
They didn't send me anything free,
Oh,
which would have been nice. But
No, seriously. Like, I mean, we bought the cheddar jack cheese spread specifically
good.
from you. So, like, Packet Gourmet.
Yeah, hook 'em up. Hook 'em up.
Give it a couple.
Yeah.
Like, give 'em a couple.
I feel like there should be a David Gray line of cheese.
Yeah, they
spreads.
should have your picture right here instead of this guy
well,
climbing.
that was like when I told you guys I started in like 2010. In 2009, if you look at my gear from back then and open up the 2009 Backpacker Magazine Gear Awards, you'll see every item of gear that I have because that's how I selected.
Really?
My pack, my tent, and they had given this like a gold.
This existed
award.
at that
It was
time?
when it
It was
first
in
came out.
boxes.
Well,
Oh,
they were
that's
they were
right.
in totally different packaging, but. So I go, I got to order some of that. They also had like a tortilla soup and
okay.
something else. So all the meals I had, everything, I'm serious, everything was out of that magazine.
Funny.
So all of my gear, but that's where I got it from. So it was like probably the very first piece of gear I ever bought.
I didn't realize they existed that long ago.
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with the Ritz crackers, though.
Oh.
They're too crumbly.
Well, you put them in, I put them in a little plastic sleeve thing.
Oh, to protect them?
Yeah, so that works pretty well.
Have you ever taken a trip without the cheese spread?
I did because I ran out.
Oh, okay.
And so I had another type that was like a nacho cheese spread
Yeah.
from those guys, and it was awful.
And by the way, I agree with you that the 20-minute prep time, not even.
Yeah,
close.
right?
Like if you like
An
chunky,
hour-
if you like
hour
chunky
minimum.
pieces,
Yeah.
Especially when it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to give it an hour.
That's fun. Do you what other stuff from Packet Gourmet do you like? Do you get there other things?
I did previously, and one of the reasons I stopped doing that is they were so heavy.
Yeah.
You know, they were not really freeze dried; they were
Right,
dehydrated.
right.
But they've changed something because Carl bought a bunch of the ones I liked were they have a All American Burger.
Oh, I had that one for
That's
the first
good.
time.
Yeah,
Yellow
that's
so
good.
And everybody had meal and
Yeah.
you're gonna start
Meal
chewing on
and
that
meat.
leg.
That thing
But the
was
packaging is all different now. It wasn't nearly as heavy as it used to be, so I may
Yeah.
start trying it again.
Okay.
Yeah, that All American.
The All American Works burger is pretty
it
good.
is
Very good.
pretty
Comes with the
good.
ketchup.
Yeah. I was telling my wife about it. She's like, they have a dehydrated burger. I'm like, just trust me. It actually does taste like a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And they actually had it was called like a Tex-Mex breakfast skillet, a breakfast thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you had to take a pan.
Yeah, I have that upstairs.
Okay. Yeah, you actually had to
Yeah.
take like a. So I bought a
Okay.
little titanium frying pan. but
Okay.
I don't do that anymore.
One thing we've gotten really into over the last couple of years is we've started dehydrating a lot of our own food.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered
I
doing that?
have an Excalibur.
Oh,
dehydrator.
nice.
Oh, you
So
got
I
the
had-
nice one.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
I
a
had
nice
the nice
one.
one, and I actually just used it because Carl took some. Carl dehydrates mostly beef jerky.
Okay.
And it's fantastic. So
Yeah.
he had some on that trip, and we were all like puppies. Please, Carl,
Yeah,
can I
yeah,
have some?" So when we got back, I had asked him how he did it, and when he got back, I made a huge batch. The whole 10
okay,
trays
okay,
full
okay.
of it. And it
Nice.
was fantastic.
How good did your house smell when you were doing that?
I did it in the garage.
Oh, no, you missed out.
I learned that lesson from before.
No, but you got to have your
But
whole house smelling.
even then, the house still smells.
right?
That is such a strong
We'll
smell.
we'll dehydrate. We do a lot of like buffalo chicken stuff or like Mexican based stuff, and my whole house smells like a Taco Bell or something. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, actually, I bought it because that was my vision. Is I'm gonna do all my own stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize after doing a little of it, it's like a lot easier to buy a mountain house.
So same thing. Like we
and it
like,
lasts 25, 30
right.
years, whatever it is.
The last year we still dehydrate stuff, but not as much because
Not as much as we used
like
to.
the Mountain House and Packaged Gourmet stuff just tastes so much
It
better.
just tastes so good.
Well, that was the first time I pulled it out in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
It sits on top of the shelf.
That's exactly where ours is.
Big box. But it still worked. It worked great.
That's funny. Oh man, now I'm getting hungry for this.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get this out for the other subsequent videos. There's
Yeah.
gonna be more than this video, by the way.
Yeah. We're not just having David Gray come over for one video.
I drove 3 hours. Let's do it, man.
We would be remiss of drinking local beer without calling out my frustration with the fact that our favorite brewery isn't distributed enough widely. Endeavor Brewing, they're our favorite brewery in
We've
Columbus.
thought about bringing you there for this today.
Oh, that would have been
I
great.
know.
It's not too late.
Well,
Question.
we can do the second part.
Yeah,
of
right.
this. Yeah.
We actually did it was really cool. We did a live Q&A there with them, like sponsored by REI with some other YouTubers.
Okay.
Would you ever be interested in something like that?
definitely.
It is a lot of
It
fun.
was a ton of fun, and there were a lot of people there.
David, I have a sleeper sofa.
Yeah.
Hey, I've slept in a lot. Well, that's the nice thing about backpacking is it sets the bar really low on what a luxury is.
Right.
So,
The one thing I love about your videos too. I love the filming of the drive. I love the filming of the hotel room
do like the
beforehand.
filming of the drive.
And I love the filming of the pre-hike breakfast at like IHOP
Yeah,
or Waffle House.
well, it's all it started out as really the intention. What I try to do is bring people along on the trip, the whole trip.
Yeah.
Get a feel for what the the pre-travel arrangements are
Yeah.
and everything. So I think people kind of like that, but that's the way I want
For sure.
Yeah, that's
to
great.
do that because I love that part too.
Yeah.
It's as much about, to me, it's as much
sure.
about the road trips. That was a nice thing about Yellowstone is we had like 2 days of that before we started hiking. So you get kind of the road trip action and then you also get the hiking. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I absolutely
We don't do that in our videos, but like
happens.
it happens. But from a trip planning aspect, it's nice to see that kind of stuff because it's helpful.
Well, and I try to find the best local places to go.
Yeah.
So when I get to a spot, I always Google best restaurant or best breakfast.
Yeah.
Inn. And then I try to find you notice I do not stay in luxury hotels.
We do not
So
either.
what I want to do is I want to find the best, cleanest. If it says anything about like bed bugs in the reviews,
Pass.
or dirty, But if it says, oh, this is immaculately clean and it's a $40 hotel, I'll stay there because some people are looking for that when they're looking at the videos. A lot of people use them for pre-trip planning of their own.
Yeah.
One thing I'm super jealous of was you got to go stay at Mount LeConte.
Yeah.
And I remember
that
that
was all Travis.
Yeah, well, I remember you guys wasn't there like a cancellation? You guys got in at the last second, right?
Travis was calling them, because we had a whole different trip plan.
Yeah.
And because we were going to do that trip, but then the LeConte shelter was closed because of bears.
Right.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
so you couldn't get into the LeConte Lodge, 2 years in advance. So we had an entirely
right?
different trip plan, and then Travis was calling them every day to see if they had a cancellation.
Oh, okay.
3 days before
Okay.
our trip, they said, "Yeah, we just had a cancellation."
Ah, that's
So
right.
so he calls me and he goes, "Do you mind switching everything around so we can stay in the LeConte Lodge?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Go for it."
Yeah.
But that's how it was just a total accident.
Yeah. That's,
My wife, we've like been trying to get in there, and it's a lottery system now at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
want to get back.
I'm
That
like,
place
just
is
watch David's video.
awesome.
But
That
see-
place was awesome.
See, David, you're very similar to us where like I think you could call me out on this, but like we prefer the camp life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
that's my roots, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started out camping, not backpacking. And so to me, it's always been about, the coffee in the morning at the camp and the bacon frying in the pan. Not that I do
We
much
gotta
of
go
that, but-
backpacking.
I know. It's just like, oh, we'll do a couple
Yeah.
miles.
Well, Christian's the same way, and one of the problems I've run into with him when we do Colorado trips, he doesn't necessarily like the big miles.
Yeah.
At all. Like if we could figure out a way to, walk a quarter mile into
Right,
camp
and just
then
camp.
camp and
Yeah,
fish,
yeah, yeah.
he would do it, and you can't really do that in Colorado. So
Yeah.
so planning the trips with him where you got, the lower mile type stuff,
Yeah.
but still get the good campsites
mean,
is a little
Man,
challenging.
you are preaching to like
Yeah.
preaching to the choir
I
here.
love- some
Yeah.
people like the hiking.
Yeah.
I
We
really
only
like
backpack with people who like the hiking, and we're like, come on.
I mean,
like-
the hiking's
putting in
great.
the 25
yeah,
hours a day.
yeah, no, pass.
Yeah,
No.
like there's nothing better than busting out your camp chair, sitting around a
I
campfire,
agree.
and having some good food and good conversation.
Yeah.
And, like fishing, and I mean all that stuff.
Well, I don't mind the hiking.
Yeah.
I love the scenery. I love
absolutely.
doing the trails, but I'm always looking forward to getting in camp.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
makes camp that much
it's
sweeter.
just like that feeling of when the long day's over and you get to sit down in camps. That it's just awesome.
yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
That's funny because we like it's like weird that this sort of thing is not common. I feel like
No, we get made fun of.
like people are like, and then like we still do like 15-mile days. It's not like a low mileage, you know.
You're doing more miles than I do.
Well, then that's on the
We-
upper end for us.
we-
15 for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, we prefer like the 10, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10, like basically 10 is good because I felt like I've accomplished something and I'm okay.
And then you get to camp early.
you get
still.
to it's still like light
to-
out and you can like do
You're not
stuff.
dead, and but I'm not opposed to those like 6 to 8 mile days.
I know that's even like a Nero for us. Yeah, just get to camp at like 1.
Well, it's like when I did the Sierra Nevada trip, it was more about. I mean, this kind of tells me of my philosophy. I found the places I wanted to camp. Adiza
Okay.
Lake and Garnet Lake and from Adiza from Garnet Lake to Thousand Island Lake is like 3 miles.
Oh, nice.
So I got into camp. Even taking my time in the morning, I get into camp at like
It's like noon.
10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And there's nobody there. It's not like we're sitting down talking
Yeah.
or anything. I'm like, okay, now what do I do? So I walk around and get B-roll stuff or
Okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
and scout out other campsites. But that was a challenge. But it was where I wanted. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the greatest thing. Like go to the places that are like the most beautiful and picturesque, where you're just gonna have a great time. Like, who cares about this stereotype
Right.
of like, putting in big miles?
Oh, nice.
Oh, great, great.
You can hear someone taking a leak.
That's cool.
That was what is that?
I know, right? I was like, oh, there's water flowing through that
That's my
pipe.
sewage.
We'll be cutting that out.
This is a new house for us. So,
right? Oh, this is good.
yeah, we gotta start busting down the stereotype of like, and like, do what you want to do on your
I
backpack.
know.
Like,
Hike your own hike.
yeah,
Hike
like
your own
if
hike.
you want to crush miles, you crush miles.
Yeah.
And if you want to get to camp at 8 o'clock and quickly set up your tent, go to bed, then do that. If you want to enjoy the
If you want to get there at 10:30 a.m. too, that's pretty sweet.
A little early,
Yeah.
especially when
It's
you're
even
by
before
yourself.
brunch. That's funny.
yeah, who cares? Like but I mean, as long as you're hitting the places that you want in the most picturesque parts, like that's all that matters.
Well, and I couldn't, I did some research on that trip, and everybody said you got to stay in these 3 campsites, and there was no other way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it was like, I could have bypassed one easily.
Yeah.
But it was like I didn't want to miss them. And actually, the one I would have bypassed was Garnet Lake, and that was probably some of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life.
I wanted to get to your photography.
Yeah, your photography.
Your photography is
okay.
legit.
Hold on a second. If
We'll
you're
pimp him on Instagram.
if you're not following David on Instagram, it's davidgray.photography on
Yeah.
Instagram. I mean, the shots
Really
are just
good shots, man.
fantastic. Yeah.
Well, that's what I started doing back when I was in high school. I was getting paid to do it when I was in college. And so my roots are photography.
I didn't know that.
I didn't pick up my first video camera until way longer. So, when I do these trips, it all started with the photography.
Yeah.
And the video came second. But
The videos you post or the pictures you post on Instagram are really
so,
good.
yeah, it's kind of hard not to in some of these places where you go.
I know,
It's
right?
like-
No, it's they're really good from like a technical photography aspect.
Oh, thank you.
And no, I think your
Yeah.
Instagram's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger.
Well,
honestly.
Annie, the worst part about that is Annie's the one doing that.
Okay.
So she started that whole thing. I had one before, and every couple years I get something out there, and so she's every day it's like, hey Dad, I need some more pictures. So I go back mining through old.
It's a good
I
social
never did
media
anything.
coordinator.
Oh, absolutely. I never did anything with that picture. Okay, I'll pull
Yeah,
that one out because
yeah.
she'll like, Dad, you haven't sent me a picture in 2 days. Okay.
It's a whole family affair. I like it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
No, that's awesome. I wish we had a social media director.
I know, right?
I need one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So if you're thinking towards the future, are there any places in your head that kind of stick out that you haven't been to yet
Oh
that
yeah,
you're thinking about getting to?
Well, the one I keep trying to get to is the Wonderland Trail.
We've talked about
in
that for
Seattle,
years.
yeah.
So I've been trying every year for the last, I think 4 years now. I've been trying to get a permit, advanced permit, and
You
it's
haven't
like
gotten one?
Next to impossible.
Really? It's
Wow.
it's that hard?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's no chance for us.
Well, what I'm learning, I joined. There's like a Wonderland Trail Facebook
Yeah.
page or something, and what I'm starting to figure out is lots of people are hiking it, but they're all getting walk-up permits.
Yeah, so like,
So they save half of them if you walk
but it's
up.
such a gamble from us.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
So
flying across the
yeah,
country.
yeah, and then you don't know. There's no guarantee you're
Yeah.
going to get one.
Yeah, but at least if you're going to like Seattle to go around Mount Rainier, you could have some like backup plans laid out.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, do some day hikes or whatever. So I don't know if it'll be next year or the year after, but one of these years I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
If I don't get an advance permit, I'm just gonna go for a walk up.
Just hop on the PCT and just go for like whatever.
Yeah, plan something out like that. And the other one is the Enchantment Wilderness out there.
Yeah.
Same sort of deal. I tried to get a permit this
Yeah.
year and didn't, but I'll keep trying for that one. 'Cause
Okay, so walk up is the way to go.
We have
maybe.
talked about the Wonderland Trail forever
a
too.
long time. It's so popular now.
Yeah.
It's
But so beautiful.
So
Yeah.
popular.
Man, I can't even imagine
The elevation
videos.
gain and loss.
Oh,
though.
brutal!
It is brutal.
I had the profile of that hike on my desk at work, and
Yeah.
it looks just like a saw.
It's just a zigzag.
but those little ups and downs are 3,000-4,000 feet.
Oh God.
And there, I think there were like 13 of them.
Oh God.
And there's none of it was flat.
Yeah,
I mean, it looked
yeah,
just
yeah.
like a saw blade, but I had that there for inspiration. So
I've seen a lot of like trip reports and videos, and like the campsites there are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like you can see
I
glaciers.
gotta do it.
I know.
I got to do it.
Yeah.
One of these years.
We've had that on our list for a long time. I didn't realize we never tried to get a permit. I didn't realize it's almost next to impossible.
It's a lottery, just like some of these other places. But they have so few campsites and so much demand.
Yeah.
I think there's like 13 campsites.
Oh, along the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Okay.
You know, and it's a circle.
Yeah.
So it's not like Glacier where it's spread out over like a million square miles or whatever. It's there. There's only so many, and there's so much demand for it.
Yeah.
It's next to impossible. But I'll keep trying.
Yeah. How many years have you tried?
I think 4. And
Oh my
God.
this year was the
Row?
4th. Yeah.
Jeez. And like, do you apply?
Do
like,
they know
right
who you are?
Yeah.
Maybe I should try.
Yeah, I mean
Hey,
seriously.
Yeah, really, yeah.
National Park. Is it National Park Service?
It is the National Park
National
Service.
Park Service.
That's
Let's,
right. Don't you know who I am?
Yeah. Let's get David Gray a permit.
Don't they have A-list permits?
Don't they have A-list
Yeah,
permits?
there's no VIP permits, and they don't let you sell them on like
Oh,
I would do that.
Like StubHub or something.
Well, the other one that I did get this year, I'd been trying. I actually went after a John Muir Trail through hike permit this year and got one.
Wait, through hike?
I did through hike.
Wait, are you?
I would be on the trail right now.
Why?
Well, it was. I learned it was. I was doing it primarily to learn the process this year, and it's kind of a little bit of an intimidating process because there's like 5 different trailheads you can start at.
Okay.
You gotta say, you know, your trailheads that you want to start at in order. Then you got to say where you're going to camp the first night. If you don't know all of that, well, somebody had put a guide out there.
Okay.
And so I was kind of following that. What I didn't realize is one of the trailheads is actually outside of Yosemite Valley.
Okay.
So all the cool stuff in Yosemite, I was starting at basically mile 20 something. And then right over that first pass was where I'd done the Sierra Nevada hike.
Okay.
So, and I couldn't have done the whole thing. I didn't have enough vacation days.
Okay.
So I was planning on doing like maybe a week of it.
Yeah.
But then you start to realize as you research it, there's only a couple places where you can get on and off. It is
Right,
not like
right.
something where you
Yeah.
just go, okay, I'm going to get off the trail
Yeah.
here. You could be 30 miles from the nearest highway. So all of that, I ended up calling or sending them an email and say, cancel my permit for this year. But I'll
okay.
probably try again next year.
Okay.
That's
But yeah, it was for August 13th.
We love.
Oh shit.
Well, and they do a crazy lottery because in the past you had to send in, if you didn't win, it's a daily lottery.
Oh,
if
I didn't
you
know
didn't
that.
win, you sent in an application. If you didn't win, you had to send an application the next day by fax.
Oh.
And
By fact.
back in those days,
National Park Service.
Yeah.
Come on.
there's a thing called the internet. You know? But this year they actually have an online system, and you could say the starting date, you know, when you wanted to start the permit, and they, for I think 28 days in a row, they automatically submitted your name.
Okay.
So I went through the first 20, and
Okay.
you get a rejection letter every day.
Every day.
So
when
I
you
kept
get
them all,
things.
yeah, I kept them
So
all.
it's
28.
just like it's good for your self-esteem.
Yeah, it is.
Rejection
So I
every day.
timed it such that I would do like 2 cycles of that, and about halfway through the second cycle, I actually got a different email that said, "Congratulations,
Oh,
you
nice.
now have a
Nice.
John Muir Trail." But
Yeah.
at that time, I realized like I'm not going to have 3 weeks of vacation available, but I would like to do that one.
Okay.
Sometime the whole thing.
We love that you're here, but if you were on the John Muir Trail right now, we would understand.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's
It
fair.
would be nice.
Columbus, Ohio, or beautiful California.
Yeah, that is
That's
beautiful.
fair. Lightning round.
Okay, we'll move to. This is how we always.
We always end them with a lightning round.
And lightning round could expose
sounds
conversation.
intimidating.
Well, don't feel too intimidated because we don't know what we're gonna ask you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's more intimidating for us.
We have to
I
like
don't-
come up with really quick.
So I just do a quick answer.
Quick
Okay.
answer.
All
Try
right.
it. Yeah.
All
So
right.
go ahead.
I gotta
Yeah.
think
See,
of a
this
question
is the hard one.
first.
This is the hard one. Okay, here we go. Packet Gourmet or Mountain House?
Packet Gourmet.
Colorado or California?
California.
Ooh, I was surprised how quickly you answered that.
Well, there's a draw. Colorado's got, there's two sides to Colorado.
Yeah.
It's the altitude.
Yeah.
Hits me more than it used to hit me.
Yeah.
And the trails are harder, and the weather can get.
Yeah.
I've been in some scary situations out there in August.
I remember.
Monsoon
Yeah.
season. You can almost count on it. Every afternoon, storms are going to roll in, and depending on where you are, it can be a little freaky.
So California is not as bad in that aspect?
When I was in, I don't know if it's the same way now. It hadn't rained there in like 3 years.
Okay.
So you knew every day was going to. I'm serious. They were in that drought.
That's awesome.
And the sky was like, you knew it was going to be perfectly blue sky every day, and no humidity, bone dry humidity.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Nice.
But yeah, I love Colorado too. But if I could get to California more often, it's just a harder trip to get to.
That Colorado video, I think it was Colorado, where you were out of water. You're climbing up to some pass. The weather gets super sketchy, and I like to say, like, if David Gray on his video is like saying it's sketchy because you're so positive on everything.
you know shit's real.
Yeah. It's bad.
Like, hell, fellow viewers, we're gonna die right now. Yeah. But at least it'll be on video and we'll be able to capture it.
We get a lot of views.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god.
Oh, sorry, I messed up your lightning.
No, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
That's how we just ask questions and then it
If
trails
it
off
sparks
somewhere.
conversation,
It's good because you're talking. I was like, okay, I gotta think of another lightning round question.
Okay. Bourbon or whiskey?
They're the same.
There.
No, I know. They're not. That's so much of a connoisseur.
Yeah.
I would probably say bourbon.
What's your bourbon of choice?
Well, nowadays, it's been Buffalo Trace.
Nice.
Travis turned me on to that.
You're a man of get to camp and like time for your adult beverage.
Yeah. It's when it's like the coffee in the morning.
Yeah. We've
Sitting
been
around a fire.
We've been doing happy hours now every trip.
Yeah.
So we bring like a Mio bar and an alcohol bar, and we just start mixing up drinks.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very
see?
nice.
We gotta say something about a Durox because like that's also part of your post hike.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's like in time for my Durox.
Well,
what a R7
I think you
or what?
appreciate that the older you get.
And I like how you just choke it down too, and you're like, it's so bad.
You're going for the effect, not the flavor. That's for sure. That stuff. I can't even remember how I found that. I think I'd had some particularly rough days at the ends of long hikes, and it's like I got to find something that's going to help me. And so I was researching recovery drinks, and their motto is gold standard of recovery drinks. So I tried it, and it works.
It really
well.
works.
Yeah. Although there's been I don't know where I saw this, but I saw a study where somebody compared chocolate milk to Durox.
Right.
And it's basically the
Chocolate
same
milk,
thing. But problem is you can't really carry chocolate milk easily on the trail. So.
You can't take dehydrated chocolate
Yeah.
milk. What is your ideal post backpacking meal?
Well, it kind of depends on what I find in the local area when I do like a best of search.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're also a barbecue man every once in a while.
Barbecue. So if I find something that's like a killer rated barbecue place, it might be that. But a lot of times it's pizza. Because I just love like a wood fired, and usually it'll be like a wood fired thin crust.
Okay.
I don't like the thick crust.
Okay.
Like a New York style pizza.
Yeah.
If I find a good spot, I'll do that. But we were this year in Big South Fork with Travis and Carl and I. We're at the Sherritt Creek Lodge, which is kind of like luxurious place to stay, backcountry lodge.
Yeah.
And there are girls over there making pizza for herself, and we're sitting on the porch having pizza fantasies, and she's over there, and we're looking like it's like we're trying to look like like the dogs that are like looking for a handout, and she keeps hinting like, oh, there should be some left or whatever.
Yeah.
Needless to say, we didn't get any pizza, so we were kind of left with this like pizza fantasy.
Yeah.
So for Yellowstone, we were actually planning on bringing like tortillas and pepperoni.
Oh, and
all,
making one.
trail
Nice.
pizza, all the fixins, but we just we kind of got like pizza fantasies on that trip.
Nice.
So pizza's always good too.
Pizza's like our thing is burgers.
Yeah,
but
burgers are great.
Burgers,
pizza,
wings, and beer.
I don't know why we've never considered
beer.
pizza. Yeah, cold draft
Usually
beer.
it's with beer.
Yeah.
Because no matter what we've had on the trail, it's not going to be cold.
Right,
It's going to be
right.
something like bourbon or whatever, which isn't super refreshing.
Right.
If we could exit a trail and like find like a New York style pizza, like just huge like slices,
I know,
like
thin,
like-
big grease dripping
like,
off.
like stereotypical one bite, everybody knows the rules
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It really just because I find myself on trips, I'll be that you have the real food fantasies
Yeah.
towards the end of the trip. to start to kind
pizza-
of
pizza's just coming up there.
It might be bacon cheeseburgers, it might be barbecue, but it depends on whatever it was that I was fantasizing about on that trip is usually what it is.
All right. We're gonna wrap this up. We're shooting more videos with Mr. Gray.
I don't even know what to say right now.
For real though,
Yeah, like everybody knows who's a faithful viewer of us. Like how much we love David Gray and talk about his
you
videos.
were one of, if not the first backpacking channel I ever started watching.
And
on YouTube.
it's a family affair. Like our wives love you.
Yeah.
Like
no, my wife can't be here right now, and my wife's mom is a big fan of you as well. Seriously, but honestly, thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
You drove 3 hours all the way
and
to come to this.
If you haven't checked out his channel,
you're done.
we'll have a link. We'll have a link in the description. We're gonna just shoot some more videos with him.
And follow David Gray on Instagram
yes,
too.
we'll put all the links to his channels and Instagram in the comments. Check it out, and we'll see everybody in the next one.
Yeah, and don't yell at him for his winters off.
Okay.